So what are some of the top Thailand stocks that you can consider having in your portfolio to further diversify it apart from like Singapore and US stocks? Hey guys, Joey here, top tier MyZero trader in Philip Securities, and in today's video, I'll just run through some of the top Thailand stocks whereby you can buy just like any other normal Singapore stock. I'll show you guys how to do it, alright, and we'll run through kind of like the technicals or the charts for the underlying Thailand stock. So here are the names of the 3 Thailand stocks whereby you can position yourself in. So very briefly, you can see the first one is right over here, Airport of Thailand. Pretty much operates and manages the airports in Thailand. It runs the duty-free stores, the restaurants, the baggage counters, security check-in, and all that stuff, right? So Thailand is pretty much a play on the tourism sector. So these are one of the stocks that you can consider if you are looking to have a play on the tourism sector in Thailand. The next one will be PTTEP, all right? This code is PTTEP, and that would be oil and gas exploration company in Thailand itself, right? The next one will be CPO. CPO, the code is CPALL. So this company pretty much operates the 7-Eleven convenience store chains in Thailand. So these are pretty much the 3 underlying stock that's listed on the Thailand Stock Exchange, and you would have to buy the stock in the Thailand Stock Exchange before May this year, but right now you can actually buy what we call the Thailand SDR, or in short Thai SDR. SDR stands for Singapore Depository Receipts, which is pretty much like a normal Singapore stocks that you can just buy like your any other normal Singapore stocks like your banks and all that, right? So you can see that for AOT, this is the Thai underlying. You can actually buy what we call the Airport of Thai. TH stands for Thai, right? So Airport of Thai, TH SDR, right? And for PTEP, all right, we have SDR for it as well. PTTEP Thai space SDR. So whenever there's this SDR word at the end, yeah, that is pretty much the SDR, and then the underlying would be the one whereby the code is PTTEP. The next one will be CPO. All right, same thing here. There's an SDR for it called CPO space TH space SDR. So very quickly, I'll just run through the charts of the underlying stocks that are listed in the Thailand Stock Exchange. So we look at Airport of Thailand, and we look at PTTEP, and then we look at CPO, and what are some of the levels you can potentially time on entry in terms of buying the Singapore listed one, the SDR, and what are some of the levels we can consider, all right, in terms of just doing a quick conversion from Thai baht to Singapore dollars. So the first underlying stock would be AOT.BK, Airport of Thailand, right? Pretty much as a play on the tourism sector in Thailand, right? So you can see that this is a chart right now for Airport of Thailand is trading about 61 Thai baht. So this is the underlying stock that is listed on the Thailand Stock Exchange. But as I mentioned, right, you don't have to actually buy the underlying and incur all kinds of like currency conversion fees and all that. All right, you can actually buy the SDR that is listed on the SGX, just like any other normal Singapore stock, right? And I've pretty much done the conversion for you right over here. You can see that in terms of the conversion, right, you can just times, so in terms of Thai baht, you just need to times 0.038 to get the Singapore dollars equivalent amount in terms of buying the SDR that's listed in SGX. All right, so you can see right over here, let me just go through the underlying. This is Airport of Thailand. You can see that we broke this 66 Thai baht, right, 66 Thai baht level right over here, right, somewhere around like November. I think there were some signs of weakness. We broke some support. COVID-19 cases are slightly increasing as well. All right, so we broke this support level and we started to see a bit of weakness, sold down, and over the past like 1-2 weeks we have found a little bit of support around that 55, I would say 55 to 57 Thai baht level. You can see this was pretty much the support level we have seen over the past like 2 years, right? 55 to maybe $57, and some bargain hunting is actually happening right over there. So if you're looking to kind of like get in to buy the SDR, what are the levels in terms of Singapore dollars? Well, very simple. If you look at this level, let's say like 55, all right, 55 Thai baht times 0.038 in terms of this currency conversion, you about Singapore dollars $2.10. So if the SDR would hit about $2.10, that's where you can consider. And also, you can see that previously, somewhere around like COVID, right? This was in 2020 when COVID happened, right? You can see that was pretty much the bottom we have found right over here, around 50 Thai baht. So 50 Thai baht times 0.038, it would be about $1.80 and 90 cents in terms of Singapore dollars. So 190 to 210, I think if prices to hit around here, it will look pretty attractive. It's pretty much back to COVID levels where the market sold off, the tourism and the travel sector got hit pretty badly as well. So these are some of the levels you can consider from 190 to 210. So in terms of the upside as well, let's say if you were to get in near the 190 to 210, all right, around here, if it does dip a little bit more, all right, that's where we could reach some upside, about more than 20 to 30%. Let's look at this targets right over here. All right, about more than 20 to 30% if you have got in around the $1.90 Sing dollars to 210 Sing dollars, it rebounds up to about 250. That could be the potential upside. All right, so this is pretty much Airport of Thailand. And right now, if you're looking at this stock, I would say that the trend might still be down in the short term, because you can see that the 20 days moving average line, this green line right over here, it is still pointing down. So we've seen a little bit of a rebound, but what we want to see this 20 days moving average line at least starts to flatten out. When we start to point up, I think that could lead to more strength in terms of the reversal back up in the short term. And of course, if it happens near this 55 Thai baht to 50 level, well, that would be great. All right, that would give a bit more confirmation to that support, and in terms of upside, it would be more as well, if the 20 days moving average starts to point back up. Second Thai stock will be PTTEP. It's a leading oil and gas exploration and production company in Thailand, right? So you can see this is the underlying chart right over here, and the price is about 147 Thai baht. So I've pretty much done the conversion from Thai baht to Sing dollars, this times 0.038, and you get a rough figure right over here. This would be like $5.70 Sing dollars. This is about $5.15 in terms of the support levels. You can see that we are back to this support level that we have been holding, I would say, since the beginning of 2022, about 2 years, almost 2 years, I would say. You can see right over here, that would be the 135, right? 135 Thai baht. In fact, just about 1-2 weeks back, we hit it there, and some bargain hunting actually came back. So about 135 to 140, I think that's where we can see some strength in the underlying stock. So if you convert it 135 to 140 times 0.038, I would say it's about $5.15, 5.15, 5.20, about $5.30 right over here. That could be some upside whereby we could get in on dips, or if it does stabilize in terms of the short-term trend, as I mentioned, right? We won't wait for the short-term trend to stabilize first, all right? But that is a support level whereby one could actually consider, right, if the trend reverses, right? So this 20 days moving average, it is still sloping down as of now. So like, for example, let's say it hits down and down, and if we still stay above this like 135 Thai baht support level, eventually I would say that this 20 days moving average will start to flatten out and maybe even start to point up. Like what we see over here, right? It was pointing down, down, down. We see a bit of support at 135. It starts to flatten out and point back up right over here, and prices managed to go back above the 150, all right, resistance level. So that could be an indication of the reversal back up all the way to like 150 to 180 Thai baht right over here. And for 180 Thai baht in terms of the upside targets, right, 180 times 0.038, that would be about $6.85 Singapore dollars. The third Thai stock would be CPO, right, the company that runs and operates the 7-Eleven convenience store chains in Thailand. You can see right over here, this is the underlying, trading at about 54 Thai baht. So over the past like 1-2 years, you can see that CPO has pretty much been moving sideways over the past like 2 years. All the moving averages, the rates and the blue line, they're just moving like sideways, up and down, crossing one another. This shows a sideways consolidation. And while it is consolidating sideways in the longer term, you can see that the short term, it does actually swing up and down, swing up and down, swing up and down like this. And right now we are heading back down towards this support level. Well, this support level would be about that 50 to 55. You can see pretty much we have rebounded from here since like 1-2 years ago, and we are right over here, 50 Thai baht. So 50 Thai baht, if it times 0.038 in terms of this conversion, that would be about $1.90 Singapore dollars. So if the SDR, the Thai underlying SDR, were to hit about 190 or maybe about $2, 195 around there, that would mean that this Thailand underlying stock CPO would have headed to near this 50 Thai baht support level as well, and that's where you could get in on the Singapore SDR. Alright, so around here you can see, and upside targets would be maybe all the way up to back to this resistance, about 20% upside. And what would be that level? Well, I would say that this resistance would be the first upside targets, and that would be the 60. All right, 60 is a psychological level. That is 60 Thai baht, and if you convert it to Singapore dollars, it would be about $2.28. So if you get in on the SDR, if it does rebound from 190 to about $2.20, that's where you could lock in some profit as well on the SDR, right? So this is CPO, one of the stocks that you can consider. It's a bit more defensive, I would say. So each time you hit to those support levels, if you see the trend starting to turn up in the short term. So I mentioned about what we call the short-term trend, right? They can go up and down, swings up and down. So for example, if it starts to swing back up, like right over here, right? We hit it back to this 50 to 55 Thai baht support. You can see the 20 days moving average starts to point back up, prices goes above it, all right, and that's where you start to see that rally in the short term, right? So if it does happen again, right, and we see the 20 days moving average line, let me just draw it for you right over here. It starts to slope down a little bit more. We still see support around the 50 Thai baht, and we start to point up again. Well, that could be a sign of a reversal again, and that's where you could write what we call the SDR. So those were the 3 underlying Thai stocks that are listed in the Stock Exchange of Thailand right over here. So you can go ahead to buy what we call the SDR. You don't have to buy the Thai stocks that are listed overseas, right? You don't have to incur additional foreign currency conversion fees and all that, all right? It's just like any other normal Singapore stock. So the SDR right over here, TATD, all right, the one that tracks the Airport of Thailand. Next one will be TPED, the one that tracks PTT exploration and production. And finally, the one will be TCPD, all right, the SDR that tracks what we call CPO, the company that operates the 7-Eleven convenience store chains in Thailand. All right, so these are pretty much the 3 underlying Thai stocks to share with you guys, so you can put in your watch list on how you can diversify your stocks out of maybe even the Singapore, even the US, all right? So if you want to know a little bit more, my one good trend strategy on how to actually get in and out of stocks, how do we know when to buy, what stocks do we want to focus on, and how we have a system to guide us on entry and exit, where you can attend one of those free webinars in the future, or maybe just click on the link below, all right? Download my free report that shares you a little bit more of my strategy and be in my email list. So once there are any webinars in the future, we'll let you know. You can attend this 2 hours webinar to learn a little bit more. All right, so I'll place the link below this video. Click on it, download this free trend trading report, or get in my email list or this secret Telegram channel whereby we do share some of those weekly videos on some top stock ideas and some top trainings as well. So Joey here, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.